Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. For props, I suggest having a couple hard blocks and a soft block. And when you're ready, we'll get started in child's pose. But if you'd rather be in a seated meditation or in Shavasana or something like that, then go for it. If you want to have your props nearby in case you need to add anything in, and see if you'd like to have knees wide or knees together. Maybe a prop between hips and heels or something under the chest or forehead. And find a child's pose that feels relaxing and comfortable. So elbows can be down, or maybe arms by your sides, or maybe something else. And give yourself a little movement to help yourself settle in. Maybe a rock of the hips, maybe a rock of the head side to side. And take a scan through the body, just to check in here. Notice if anything needs a little extra care, attention today. And building on the awareness of the body, check in with your headspace here and see how that feels. Notice your breath and maybe start to deepen it. With each inhale, finding a sense of space in the body. And with each exhale, softening, grounding. Check in and see if you'd benefit from a little more time and stillness. You're welcome to stay here for as long as you need, and you can also come back to this shape or any other quiet shape at any point during your practice. When you do feel ready to start to move, mindful of the knees and the spine, extend your arms all the way forward and plant the hands to the floor. And then with an inhale breath, pull the body through and come into a baby cobra shape. As you exhale, come up, round, and back to child's pose. And then if you need to adjust anything, go for it. Otherwise, keep going with your breath, inhaling to a baby cobra, and then up and back as you exhale. If this is a little too much, feel free to start with a cat-cow, and then you can join when you're ready. Move with your body, with your breath, at your pace. And if you like to practice with Ujjayi breath, a slight restriction through the back of the throat for that whisper sound, and you might start to do that now. Last couple rounds. Awesome. The next inhale, come up to a tabletop position, and then we're going to transition to a squat. So you might tuck the toes under, take the knees a little bit wider apart, and then slowly start to make your way back and come and land on the feet. Now, if you feel like a toe squat here, then you can stay right here. Maybe hands stay on the floor, or you can bring hands to blocks. If knees wide is good, then great. If it feels better to have knees together, then go for it. And you can always come to the more stable version where the feet are flat to the floor. You can take the feet a little bit wider apart. So any version of a squat, and if you're with me in toe squat, you can also play with the balance a little bit, maybe lifting the hands up. You can also do that in the conventional squat as well. If you are balancing, just make sure you're still breathing deeply. Notice if the mind starts to wander. Bring it back to your breath, back to your body. Awesome. Wherever you are, bring the fingertips back to the floor and slowly start to extend the legs. Give them a moment just to stretch out. You can pedal. And if the floor feels far away, feel free to take a block in each hand. Bending one knee, extending the other leg, sending that hip back to stretch that back line. Maybe wiggling the toes in the shape. Just see how that feels. You can sway the hips side to side a little bit. And take your weight onto the heels, lift the toes up off the floor, and then you might walk your hands a little further forward as the hips come back in space. See what that feels like. Mindful of the low back here. And then toes back to the floor, bring your weight back forward. And then from here, with the bend to the knees, let the spine get a little bit heavier. And chest can rest on the thighs. If you want to take hands to opposite elbows or any other bind, then go for it. Let the head be heavy. Give the head a nod, yes and no, to release the neck. Find your deep breaths here. If you have a bind, you can let that go. Fingertips can be to the floor, to the legs, maybe to your blocks. With an inhale breath, come to a halfway lift. With your exhale, fold and sigh. Twice more, nice and slow. Inhale, come up, lengthen, and let it go. Once more. Inhale, come to your halfway lift. Now pause here, really anchor the feet to the floor, tone the belly, tone the back. And then pressing the feet to the floor with a flat back, come all the way up, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. If you're at all lightheaded, you can stay here with the arms up. You can also come back to that halfway lift point for a few breaths. When you feel ready, you can release your arms down to your sides. And take an inhale, bring the shoulders up to the ears. And with your exhale, slowly softening them down and back. And twice more. Last one. Let the shoulders settle, find that space across the chest. Arms are heavy and hands are pointing wherever feels the most natural. Lift and spread the toes, press the feet into the floor. Legs don't have to be all the way extended. You can keep a slight bend, especially if that helps with balance, or if it helps you feel like you're a little more even with your weight side to side. As the feet press the floor, find a rebound through the spine. Let the back of the neck get long. If, like me, you have a tendency to stick the chin forward a little bit, maybe a tug of the chin in towards the throat. Maybe close down the eyes or steady the gaze. And find your breath here. Choose stillness a little while longer. Or bow the head in, bring the chin in towards the chest. And then let the head roll gently side to side. And find a range of motion that feels good for you. When you feel even on both sides, you can let the head hang back to center. And then lift and stack the head back on top of the spine. Before we move on, if you have your hard blocks, you can take them near the top of the mat just so that they're handy if and when we need them. And then find your stance again, lift and spread the toes, lower them with a little distance. Feet can be kind of where they naturally land, maybe underneath the hips, or you can bring them all the way together. Bring the hands to prayer here. Take an inhale, puff the chest up. As you exhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, and come to chair pose. Find a depth that feels appropriate for today, and then notice where your weight is and just see if you can balance it out between the ball of each foot and each heel. Press the palms together, see if you can lengthen the spine here. Find that length from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Press the palms, maybe find a little more space for the chest. Maybe a slight kiss of the shoulder blades together on the back. Notice if the face is trying to help or if your breath gets shallow here, see if you can breathe deeply. You can always back out of the shape to accommodate the breath. Last couple of deep breaths here. All right, from your chair pose, take a deep inhale. As you exhale, hinge and fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. And sigh it out. Twice more. Last one. Inhale, halfway lift. And this time, plant the palms and find plank pose, so the top of a push-up. Knees can lower if you want a more supportive version. If this doesn't work for the wrist, then feel free to come to the forearms instead. We won't be here long, but take a moment to really grip the toes into the floor. Find the length from the heels to the crown of the head. Any pressure to the low back, you can lift the hips a little higher here as well. And imagine that the hands are pressing the floor away. Stay here, take a deep inhale, and stay for the exhale. Once more, inhale, and exhale. And take a deep inhale, and lower all the way to the belly. You can use the knees. And take the hands a little wider apart, maybe fingertips, or maybe palms flat. Inhale, breath, lift the heart space. And then twist towards the left, so dip the right shoulder towards the floor. Inhale, center. And other side. And keep going with your breath. Last one each side. Inhale, center, and lower down. Bring the hands into the shoulders, come up to a tabletop position as you inhale, and then just pause here for a moment. We'll step the left foot forward between the hands and find a low lunge. If you need to pad the back knee, go for it. And the back foot can be tucked or untucked. As you're ready, come on up. See if there's anything you need to adjust to accommodate the hips here. You can lengthen or shorten the base. You can also take the left foot to the left a little bit, especially if that helps with balance. Awesome. And then from here, reach the arms out in front, palms together. And if the shoulders came up, see if you can lower them. If it feels like the spine isn't supported enough, find a slight hug from the pubic bone towards the belly button. And then as you're ready with an inhale, open that left arm towards the left, find a twist. As you exhale, bring it back to center. Same side, inhale, and exhale. 3 more. Last one. Awesome. Bring the fingertips to the floor, and then maybe find your blocks. You can use any height setting. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee up, and then let the hips get heavy for a moment. Imagine you're stretching out the top of that right leg. Awesome. And then we'll flow from here. So inhale, breath, let the hips be heavy, lift the heart space. And then exhale, send the hips back, left leg can extend. You might even come up onto that left heel. Back foot stays active. And then flow, inhale, come forward. And exhale, hips back. A few more with your breath. Last 2. Last 1. Inhale, come forward, and then pause. Hop the back foot close enough that you can bring the heel to the floor. And then when you're ready, find your balance and come on up. We'll set for Warrior 1. You can start by extending that front leg a little bit and just square the hips here, so encourage the left hip back in line with the right one. That slight hug through the belly if it feels like a deep back bend. And then when you're ready, you can start to rebend the front knee. See if you can find that nice calf stretch for the back leg. And don't worry too much about where the foot is pointing. For me, it points more towards the front. For some people, it would be more towards the side. So just find something that feels relatively natural for you. Awesome. If you're ready, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Soften the shoulders just a little bit. Find a gaze point to help keep you steady. Take a deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, make fists and cactus the arms. Inhale, reach up. And cactus.
And 5 more with your breath. Last one. Exhale, cactus, and then stay here. And take a deep inhale. Deep exhale. Awesome. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, step to the top of your mat. And then release the arms and the legs. Give anything that needs a little shakeout a shakeout. And then come and find your mountain pose. And set up your foundation. Grow the spine, soften the shoulders. Maybe a slight hug of the chin in. Maybe close down the eyes. And take a scan through the body. Notice what feels a little different side to side. And from your mountain pose, let the head hang heavy. And chin towards the chest, and then gently rock the head side to side a few times with your breath. Last one each side. Head to center and then lift it back up. Bring the hands to prayer. Now you might keep the eyes closed for this next chair pose, or you can keep them open if that's better for you. Press the palms together, press the feet to the floor, deep inhale, and then bend the knees, sink the hips, chair pose. Notice the sole of each foot. Notice if one feels heavier than the other. See if you can balance that out. Find the depth that feels appropriate here. Keep the spine long if you can, and then keep breathing. Stay here, deep inhale, and stay, exhale. One last inhale, and hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Sigh it out. Twice more. Last one. Inhale, halfway lift. And plant the palms and step to plank pose. Knees lifted or lowered on hands or on elbows. And press them into the floor. Press the feet into the floor. Find that length, heels to crown. Find that strength through the chest, through the core, through those muscles running along the spine. All right, stay here. Take one last inhale. And with your exhale, lower all the way down. Untuck the toes, fingertips out to the side. Inhale, lift up. And twist right, dip the left shoulder. Inhale, center. And other side. And 5 more. Last one each side. Inhale, center. And lower. Hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes, press up to tabletop. And take a moment here just to adjust. And then we'll step the right foot forward between the hands. Back toes tucked or untucked. You can pad the back knee. And then come on up when you're ready. And take a few moments to set up your stance. This side might feel a little different to the first side as well. So if you need to modify, then go for it. As you're ready, reach the arms forward, hands together. And then with an inhale, open towards the right, reach the right arm towards the back. And then exhale back to center. And keep going with your breath. Last one. And exhale forward. And fingertips to the floor, to your blocks. And tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. And then sink the hips a little bit. And breathe into that stretch at the top of the left leg. And then when you're ready, we'll find movement. So with the pelvis heavy, the chest lifted slightly, deep inhale. Exhale, send the hips back, maybe onto that right heel. Left foot stays really active. And then inhale, find your version of a lunge. And then exhale for your pyramid variation. Keep going. Inhale, come forward to your lunge, and then hop the back foot just close enough that you can bring the heel to the floor. Find your balance here, and then with an inhale, come on up. Extend the front leg. We'll set for warrior one again. So right hip back in line with the left. Right foot can go to the right here if that helps with balance or anything else you need to adjust. And when you're ready, you can bend that right knee. And check in with the low back. Make sure it feels supported. Maybe enjoy a nice stretch for that back quad. And pelvis heavy. Arms reach up towards the ceiling. Deep inhale. And then make fists in cactus. Inhale, extend. And exhale, cactus. 5 more rounds. You can challenge the balance by closing the eyes if you like. Last one. As you exhale, pause here with the arms cactused and take a deep inhale. Exhale. One last inhale. Exhale, step forward. Release the arms, release the legs, give everything a little shake out. And then come and find your mountain pose. Set up your stance, close down the eyes. And take a scan through the body just to check in. Check in with the mind. Check in with the breath. From your mountain pose, wiggle the fingers and the toes. And flutter the eyes open. And with an inhale, circle the arms up towards the ceiling. And with your exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Halfway lift to lengthen. And then plant your palms. And this time step back to downward facing dog. And take a breath or two to set yourself up here. So maybe a little movement for the hips, for the shoulders. If you need to adjust the length of your base or the width, then go for it. And the hands and feet are pressing the floor away, hips high, head nice and heavy. Awesome. From here, lift the left leg up behind you, and we'll bend the knee to stack the hips. You can also do this with the right knee to the floor, so like a tabletop. And then see what feels good here for a few breaths, maybe a few circles, or you can bend and extend the top leg. But notice if all the weight is in your right hand. See if you can balance that out with the left. Hands pressing the floor away. You might feel the right heel drop towards the floor a little bit. Awesome. And when you're ready, square the hips, take an inhale, lift the left heel high. And then as you exhale, bring the knee towards the chest. We'll lower the knee halfway up the mat and then kickstand that left foot behind you. Drop the right heel to the floor. And then line up the left hand, left knee, right foot, right arm up towards the ceiling for a modified side plank. You might have the palm flat towards the ceiling or fingertips reaching, maybe head overhead, arm overhead. And then find your version here so you can stay right here. If you like, you can step the left foot to the back as well. And breathe wherever you are. Awesome. If the left knee is lifted, bring it back down to the floor. And then bring the right hand down. Come to a tabletop position. Move any props out of the way. And then from your tabletop, reach that right arm back towards the ceiling with an inhale. And now with your exhale, thread it through. Right shoulder towards the floor, right side of the head towards the floor. If you want to have a prop for the head, then bring that in. Notice where the hips are in space. They might be over towards the left, so see if you can bring them a little towards the midline, or imagine that the hips are still on top of the knees. If everything feels okay through the neck and shoulder, and you don't need the left hand for support, you could do left hand to right, or maybe left hand behind the back. And bring the left hand back to the floor, brace, and then with an inhale, unravel, reach the right arm up towards the ceiling, and stay here with the exhale. Inhale, reach a little higher, and then right hand to the floor. Now see where you want to go from here. We'll take about 8 breaths, and then we'll set up the second side. So maybe you want some cat-cow, or you can come to child's pose, or you can come to downward facing dog. Or if you'd like a flow, then come and do a flow instead. So be wherever you need to be for the next 6 or 7 breaths.
If you're somewhere other than down dog, you can make your way to down dog when you're ready. And choosing either down dog or tabletop, with an inhale, lift that right leg up behind you, and then take a few circles with the hip or bend and extend the leg. Notice where the weight is in the hands. See if you can even them out. Hands press the floor away. The left heel might drop a little bit towards the floor. All right, take an inhale breath, square the hips, extend the leg. And then as you exhale, knee towards the chest and drop it halfway up. Kickstand, right foot right, drop the left heel. Line up right hand, right knee, left foot. Left arm can reach up, any expression. Right hand stays pressing the floor away. And if you did so on the first side, then think about stepping the right foot to the back. Hips can lift a little higher if that helps for you. And breathe here, wherever you are. All right. If the right knee is lifted, bring it back down and then lower the left hand to the floor. Find your tabletop position and maybe bring your soft block in. And from your tabletop, reach the left arm back towards the ceiling, deep inhale, and then thread left arm under right. Lower the left shoulder, the left side of the head. And hips roughly above the knees. And then any expression here, so you can keep the right hand down, you can bring it towards the left or your half bind. And see if there's anything you don't need in this shape that you can soften a little bit. If the right hand isn't on the floor, bring it back, embrace. Inhale, breath, unravel, reach the left arm high. And stay here for the exhale. One more inhale, and then left hand lowers. And see what you want to do from here. We'll take about 8 breaths again. So child's pose, down dog, flow. And if you want to give the wrists a little stretch out, maybe come and find a kneeling shape. Bring the backs of the hands together. And then let the elbows be heavy until you find a nice stretch for the outside of the wrists. If you're with me in a kneeling shape, then release the hands, give them a little shake out. And we'll meet down on the belly, so wherever you are, you can make your way down as you're ready. And take a moment to adjust anything that you need. And then we're going to set up for locust pose here. So you can reach the arms back by your sides, maybe fingertips to the floor. And then press the toenails into the floor, feel the kneecaps lift. And let the pelvis be really heavy. And with an inhale, lift anything you like up off the floor. Maybe it'll be the shoulders and chest. Maybe it'll be the hands. Maybe it'll be the feet. Whatever you're lifting, imagine that you're lifting with length. So rather than seeing how high you can get, imagine that you're also finding a nice stretch from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes. Maybe the face can soften a little bit, or the jaw. Maybe the breath can deepen here. Last couple deep breaths.
All right, lower everything down. You can stack palms under the forehead here. Slide the left knee up towards the left. And then if you like, you can turn the head towards the right. And bring the head back to center. Re-extend the left leg long. And we'll take one more round of locust. You're welcome to skip it if you like, or you can come to a sphinx pose for a more static back bend, less intense for the back. Otherwise, starting off the same way, so arms by your sides, toenails press down, kneecaps lift. Find that strength through the legs. Press the pelvis down with an inhale, lift anything you like up off the floor. Soften anything you don't need here. And then breathe deeply. Last couple of deep breaths. All right, lower everything down. And palm stack. Maybe the right knee slides up towards the right. And if you did so on the first side, take the gaze over towards the left. Let the spine release. Bring the head back to center, re-extending that right leg long. And then press into the palms, come up to a tabletop. And hips towards the heels. And we'll swing the legs around to come and find a seat. It might help to have at least one of your hard blocks nearby, and I like to sit up off of the edge of a soft block. And extending the left leg long, and then we'll bring the right foot to the inside of the right leg. If your knee is floating, you can support it with a prop. You might scoop the flesh of the bum out of the way, just to help the pelvis tilt forward a little bit to set you up for a fold. If this doesn't work with having the leg extended, you're welcome to stay upright the whole time as well. And you can add as much of a bend to the knee as you need, especially if you find that there's a lot of pressure in the low back. And wherever you are, take a deep inhale. And with your exhale, you can start to walk the hands forward, hinging from the hips, bringing the chest towards the thigh. And then pause, inhale breath. You can stay here, just lift part way up. And then with your exhale, lower back down. You can pulse a few more times like this, inhaling for that length. And exhaling, folding. A few more if you're with me. Now, next time you exhale, maybe you're ready for stillness. Otherwise, you can keep pulsing for as long as you need. Don't worry about how deep you're coming into the stretch. Just find that nice stretching sensation through the back of the left leg, maybe through the back body as well. With the support of the hands, and an inhale, slowly make your way back up. And take a pause here. And then help the right knee up, right foot flat to the floor. You can keep it on this side of the left leg, or you can take it across. And you can also fold that left leg underneath, setting up for a twist. Whatever your expression, you can take the right hand behind you, reach the left arm high, take a deep inhale. With your twist, go towards the right. You can wrap the left arm around the right knee any way you like. The spine stays tall. If the shoulders are shrugging, maybe soften them. If the floor is far away, then you can use a block, or you could also walk the hand a little further away. Maybe taking the gaze over the right shoulder. And breathe. The next inhale, unravel to center, and then take a counter twist to the opposite side. And then back to center, release the legs, give them a little shake out, maybe a little tap of the knees, a little windshield wiper. And then we'll set that up on the second side. So this time, left foot to the inside of the right leg, maybe a block for the left knee. Adjust your props, adjust your hips. Maybe you want to bend the knee a little more or add some support there as well. You can stay upright or take a deep inhale. As you exhale, start to hinge your way forward. And pause before your spine starts to round. And then inhale, breath, come partway lift. And exhale, fold. A few more like this. And if you feel ready, the next time you exhale and fold, pause over that right leg. Find your pain-free expression. Breathe into whatever you're feeling. If you like to let the head go, go for it. And gently start to walk the hands back in. With an inhale, come all the way up. Stack the spine, soften the shoulders, pause for a breath or two. And then help the left knee up, left foot flat on either side of the right leg, and the right leg can bend if you did so on the first side. Left hand behind you, inhale, reach the right arm high, and then twist towards the left, right arm, left knee, any way you like. Keep the spine tall, shoulders soft. If you want to take the left or the gaze towards the left, then go for it. Inhale, breath, unravel, and take your counter twist. And then back to center, release the legs, give them a little shake out, a little tap. And when you're ready, come and find your easy pose, your cross-legged position. And if there's a different seated position that works better for you, then go for that instead. Take a moment to settle the hips, to lengthen the spine, and then take the chin towards the chest. Roll the head towards the right, and back to center, and to the left, and back to center. A few more each side. The next time the head comes towards the right, pause. You can stay with the right ear hovering roughly on top of the right shoulder, or if you like, you can turn the gaze towards the floor, bringing the chin a little closer to the chest. So you might play around with that and see what feels like the best stretch, especially for this left side of the neck and into the shoulder. If you feel like you'd like to add something onto it, you might reach the left fingertips away from you towards the floor. You could also take the right hand to the head, not so much pulling, just adding some weight to the stretch. Make sure it feels like a pain-free expression. If you feel anything sharp, electric, stabbing, back out. If the right hand is lifted, lower it down. Bring the hands to the lap, the chin towards the chest and center, and then over towards the left. Back to center, and to the right. A couple more side to side. The next time the head's over to the left, pause. And again, you can play around with the position of the head, of the neck, if you want the face to be pointing towards the side or towards the floor. It's okay if it needs to be a little different to the first side. When you find it, you can stay or you can add on. Maybe the right fingertips reach to the floor. Maybe the left hand cups the head. And as you feel ready, release the left hand and the right. Bring the chin towards the chest. Head towards the right. And center. And to the left. And center. A couple more each side. When you feel even, bring the chin to center. And then lift the head back on top of the spine. Pause here for a few deep breaths. Keep the spine tall, maybe the chin tucked slightly. And just notice. And then perhaps keeping your eyes closed, we're going to lower down onto the back. You can move nice and slow. If you like to have your soft block nearby or anything else, then go for it. If you need to adjust anything in your space, then now's a good time. And then check in. If you're ready for Shavasana, then you can set yourself up right away. If your body's asking for any last quiet stretch or movement, maybe a happy baby or something like that, then you can find that as well. For Shavasana, choose any comfortable symmetrical pose. So maybe the legs are extended, or maybe you prefer like a butterfly. Arms can be extended or bent. They can be by your sides or on the body, maybe to the floor overhead. If you need any extra support for the head or anywhere else in the body, then take a moment to add that in. Maybe a little rock of the hips to settle them in. Maybe a gentle rock of the head to release. A little wiggle of the jaw. Maybe roll the eyes a few times in each direction. Release your breath to its natural inhale and exhale. And settle in for your rest. Gently deepen the breath to reawaken the body. Give the head a gentle rock side to side. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. Circle the wrists and the ankles. Now reach the arms up overhead. Find a full body stretch from the fingertips to the toes. Maybe wiggle the hips a little bit. And then collect the knees into the chest. Wrap the arms around the shins and give yourself a hug. Maybe lift the forehead to the knees. Maybe a rock side to side. Maybe you'd like a happy baby. You can reach between the knees, catch hold of the feet, point them any amount towards the ceiling, and maybe a gentle rock side to side. Awesome. Bring the knees back together. You can roll to one side or gently start to rock up and down the length of the spine. If you're rocking, just mindful of the neck and do a few rounds like you're massaging those long muscles that run along the back. Building up a little momentum. When you're ready, you can come up to any comfortable seated position. Maybe a prop for the hips, maybe a different support. And settle the hips in, whatever's touching the floor, and ground it down. And then gently lengthen the spine, maybe that slight tuck of the chin towards the throat to keep the neck long. And as you find your stillness, take a scan through the body just to notice. Notice your mind. Notice the gentle flow of your breath. Perhaps connecting the hands in front of the heart and bowing the chin in towards the chest. Thank you for sharing your breath and your practice today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for your yoga practice. And my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy the rest of your week.